I know businesses in California that will not use the U.S. Postal Service because of theft, real-time theft. It's never been, your reputation is done. Whether you admit it or not, in the military, if I have a skipper who things are going bad for, they're a good military officer, but you know what we do when things go wrong repeatedly? We relieve them. You know what you do when a CEO repeatedly fails and the business model falls apart and nobody wants to use that business anymore and it becomes non-profitable? You fire them. You know what we do in government when organizations fail over and over and over again and become unaccountable and are not going the right direction and have actually ruined the very business model that you seem to hold as a standard? Because you're not going to expand Postal Service when you have a reputation for not delivering on time, not keeping the mail accountable on your watch. You, sir, do not get an A grade. You cannot give yourself that grade.
I just did.
You can't. You can't
did.
grade your own paper, sir. I've been to medical school.
Well, then,
I got my MBA. You can't. I'm sorry. You are graded by the United States people, and they don't use your service anymore. You bankrupt.
that is not true.
You
That is
bankrupt
not
this
true,
through
sir.
your
My practice
reputation
business is
only.
growing.
Through your
Our
reputation,
business is growing.
you are responsible for the fall of the Postal Service
No,
and the
this
lack of accountability.
This Congress is responsible for
doesn't-
all of the Postal
oh, so it's
Service.
Congress's-
I am trying to fix
on
the
your
Postal
watch,
Service.
with all the AI.
Before my watch, the same stuff
With
happened.
all
worse.
the AI, with all the computer systems, you're worse than if I took
You're
a
talking
horse
to yourself.
and picked up the mail and delivered it 2 miles down the road. That's you. I hope you got that on camera. This is the response that the Postmaster just gave Congress when he doesn't like what he hears. Literally covered his ears and gave himself the grade of A. And with that, sir, I rest.
Good.
This is why we need DOGE, the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, because this right here is a mess. And just like the education system, I know very, very, very few people that are happy and are proud to use the U.S. Postal Service to mail anything. I personally go out of my way to ship with another service, and I won't mention what that service is. I do not trust the post office. I don't want to send someone an address and deal with a headache, okay? And I even pay extra. The competitive advantage of the U.S. Post Office is their prices and their locations, but that's about it. Everyone knows the service isn't great. But guess what? The government makes it very difficult for employees like this CEO to be held accountable. And the reason that he could sit there in a hearing and cover his ears like a toddler and actually get away with that is because he knows it's difficult for him to be fired. So I saw a comment where someone was basically saying the Postmaster was put in place by the Trump administration, and allegedly the plan was for him to undermine the U.S. Postal Service so that the U.S. Postal Service could be privatized. You know what? That's probably exactly what needs to happen. And I'm not saying if that was the actual plan that that's good, because I don't believe in sabotage. However, the idea of privatizing the U.S. Postal Service is probably a good idea, because guess what? Americans are already taking their money to other services that are not the U.S. Postal Service to ship their packages. So for those of you who are all in favor of the government being an arbiter in things that should be handled in families and communities, those of you who are all for government expansion, government trying to fix all of the problems, government trying to provide everything, you need to take a closer look at our U.S. Postal Service and our education system. Take a look and see how they're managing those systems and ask yourself, what more do you want them to manage?